Everyone, it's James with geometriccharts.com. September 17th, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So first of all, it's not investment advice. Second of all, I think on the last video I talked about a pop and then a drop. We did start to accelerate to the upside. I thought Bitcoin would get a little further than where it did. I did not expect it to drop off a cliff this early. Unfortunately, you know, this is just the market we're in. We're under seller domination. Again, anytime there's volume coming in, it's immediately being like retracted. So I don't know if it's like the exchanges, if it's a handful of big buyers, a single big buyer. I don't know. Either way, somebody is pumping this market as long as they can, and they're dumping into it. And the only time I ever see an increase that is sustained in volume, it's always to the downside. Time and time again. Every single time, without fail. The only consistent volume in this market is selling pressure, meaning it's being pumped and dumped and pumped and dumped and pumped and dumped. And on the same time, you got the idiots on mainstream media hyping this market up like it's going off, like it's going to shoot off like a rocket to the moon. And it's just mind-boggling. And, you know, I hate beating the dead horse about how, you know, how scummy it is. You know, that's the only way I could put it. How the mainstream media is just using these scummy pump and dump tactics. I mean, something that you would see in a boiler room back in like the 80s with penny stocks, you know, and even into the 90s. And it's just absolutely ridiculous, the crap that you see. And it's nonstop. And they get these people that get on CNBC or like any of the mainstream networks. I'm sure it's on Bloomberg and the rest of them as well. And they're touted as these experts, but clearly they're just con men hyping things up, you know, every single time, man. Like without fail. It's just horrible to see this. It's ridiculous. It pisses me off because I know people are losing tons of money and these idiots are just like, and they're touted as experts, and it's like, oh my God, man, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's like the Twilight Zone. But anyways, so clearly on the bigger perspective, since the 20,000 top, Bitcoin has had a series of lower highs and weird lower lows and like some higher lows and so forth. But either way, I definitely think if we melt down under 6250, we are definitely going to melt down under the 5750 bottom. And I think we're going to create another new low for this market. We may even retest we may test the 5,500 area somewhere in the mid 5,000 range. I don't think it's going to be 5,500 flat exact, but I think we're going to test the mid fives if we melt down from this area. And then from there, if we drop even further, we could be seeing the fours, probably the mid to low fours. So I think that could create a waterfall event. But Bitcoin has to break through this major buying zone. There's obviously a lot of buying pressure here. Whether it's for a pump and dump, I don't know. You know, whether the exchanges, big buyers, I don't know. I don't really care. At the end of the day, the chart is showing this is where major buyers are hanging out. If we slice through this area, we're going to dive deeper until we can get another intervention in this market. But again, we are trading on some of the lowest volume I have ever seen, and we have sustained trading on the $3 billion range, possibly like we peaked to about 3.8 or so, which is still a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. But we used to trade 11, 12. Like I remember looking at like 7 as like a low figure, 6 a low figure, and now it's like we struggle to even get to 4, and heck, even 3.5 is crazy to see. So the volume is very low in Bitcoin at this level, and whatever is coming in is immediately being retracted. And the only time I'm seeing it's sustained is to the downside time and time again. So again, I preach caution as best as I can and tell everyone to use their stops, have some form of investment strategy. This market is under relentless attack from the sellers. So it's just the nature of this beast until something changes. So if 6,200 melts down, we're coming back down to the 5,800, possibly 5,700 area to try to find support. If that gives out, again, I don't really know where the bottom's going to be. It's just going to have to wait and see how it reacts to the mid fives, and from there, it could definitely create a waterfall event. If Bitcoin can break through about the 6,600 area and continue up, we could see some bullish activity out of Bitcoin. But again, I have very, very low expectations that we are in the true bottom of Bitcoin yet until something major changes, meaning we really start to blast through these downtrend lines and start to build out a bigger base and really kind of clear out this headroom like so. And again, I'd like to see some more churning and a much bigger formation like so, to really build that energy necessary to break out to higher highs. So again, it's going to take a lot of time. Like my prior videos have talked about, this is going to be a very time-consuming process. It's going to be very difficult. You can see what the runs used to look like prior. Okay, big moves, very easy. Big moves down, very easy. Chop, 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 drop. Chop, 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 drop. It's going to be very, very difficult. Apparently, they're going to keep this market as erratic as possible. And again, it's under seller domination. So that is it for tonight. I will produce another video on Wednesday. I do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you do like the video, you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, follow. I know I'm extremely bearish. You don't have to tell me, but it's just the nature of this market. I am the #1 YouTube bear. I'm probably the internet bear for Bitcoin, so I can pretty much guarantee you that. But it's just the nature of the beast. Not that I want to see this. I don't want to see anyone lose money, especially, you know, in this asset where I know a lot of people dumped a ton of money into it in hopes of crazy, crazy profit targets. And the last thing I want to do is watch everyone just watch this thing melt down relentlessly, especially while it's under severe manipulation. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. But there's no denying sellers are in control, and every single pump has successfully been dumped, and the mainstream media has been there like it's the 1980s boiler room, and people are just cramming crazy stories. Like, you know, they're telling you that there's a Lamborghini on the dark side of the moon. There's the screen door submarines for you, rocket ships that go to the sun at night. I mean, they're throwing the Ginsu knife collection. I mean, they're throwing everything out there for you that they possibly can to sucker people into this. And so that's why I talk about it in the way I do. I feel like there has to be some voice of reasoning. It's not that this market is going to go to zero or anything like that. Just on the short term and possibly for the rest of this year, there's going to be relentless selling pressure unless we really start to base out and break through these major downtrend lines. Okay, and we have yet to start to form some higher highs in this market. Nothing but lower highs and marginally saving the market with a little bit of a higher low, but it's like a hopscotch game right now. We got low, higher low, low, higher low, possibly a low again if we melt through 5,700 area, which, you know, again, it's just a series. At the end of the day, you cut through the noise. You got a series of lower highs, lower lows, bear market. That's it. Very plain, very simple. So anyways, that's just the nature of this beast. I'll talk to everybody on Wednesday. Hope everybody has a great night, great day, depending on where you are in the world, and take it easy.